Are you guys also doing, Kai and Frederick, are the two of you also doing background checks on the, like background checks, let's say reference calls on the investors? Do you, like as you said, you want to get to know the person, but do you also ask other startups in their portfolio how the collaboration has been with them, how they experienced them, these sort of things? Or is that something that you did maybe only in the early stages and then you stopped? I mean, for us, that was always the best practice to do it, but I'm not sure how other founders do it.
Yeah, absolutely. So would definitely also do that. I think what also changes then over the later stages is that you have personal relationships also between existing investors and new investors that are able to create, or to give you some three dimensionality around, the fund and the people behind it. So that definitely, having someone that comes with a very high praise from your existing investors whom you respect and who know you well and the company well, I think that also goes a long way.
In that sense, it's a due diligence on both sides, right? The investors on your company, but also you on the investor. What are some red flags that you as a founder should really look at or avoid from the investor side?
Um, that's very difficult to just, you know, pack it into a small statement in the sense that there's so many degrees to this, and it depends on where you are in the market, how much choice you even have. I mean, obviously, hopefully you can choose between some investors, but for the majority of startups, that will never be the reality. It's a choice between, do we take them or do we try to bootstrap, or do we find another way to move on? You don't always have that choice, but I do think, and we touched on that before, Frederick and Kai did, other terms than just evaluation. If there's crazy liquidation preferences or voting rights that are being disturbed in the wrong direction, or veto rights and these sort of things that you start feeling like this is not going in the direction that I want this as a partnership. I think those are very, very important red flags. And then second of all, that's the point that I tried to touch a little bit on before. If you feel from reference calls, people are not really telling you the truth about that investor. I've seen that in, unfortunately, one of my investments that went bankrupt last year, where we got a very nice investor in, and the reference calls, the founder, the CEO said, I'm not so convinced this is a good investor for us anymore. Like there's something off. We did it anyway. And it ended up being a complete catastrophe, having someone in your board that is actively working against the management. And that can completely destroy a company, right? So you have to be very careful with who you chose, as Kai said. And I think it really comes down to getting as much info about the person as you can, having a good feeling about that, and making sure that the terms you have are not so restrictive or potentially destructive in the future that you don't feel comfortable with it anymore.